What drives a man to attack a judge during sentencing? It's an unthinkable act, yet it happens. Imagine the audacity, the sheer disregard for the sanctity of the judicial system, for someone to assault a judge in the middle of a court proceeding. This isn't an everyday occurrence, and thank goodness for that. But when it does happen, it shakes the very pillars of justice and order. In the courtroom, respect and decorum aren't just formalities. They are the lifeblood of justice, the invisible threads that hold together the fabric of our legal system. When you step into a courtroom, you're stepping into a place where the rule of law reigns supreme. It's a realm where disputes are settled, where rights are protected, where justice is served. To attack a judge during sentencing is to spit in the face of all that. It's a brazen defiance of authority, a flagrant violation of courtroom etiquette, and a grave criminal offense in itself. It's a rare act, but a serious one, with severe consequences that extend far beyond the individual involved. Now, let's delve into a specific instance of this shocking event. Consider the case of Thomas Sibick, a man who pleaded guilty to assaulting a former police officer during the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Sibick, hailing from New York, found himself embroiled in an act of violence that would change his life forever. His victim was Michael Fanone, a dedicated officer of the law who, on that fateful day, was stripped of his badge and radio. Sibick's actions didn't stop at assault. He was also charged with 2 counts of theft, a testament to the severity of his transgressions. His initial response to the FBI was a web of lies. He claimed he was trying to help Fanone, an assertion that was quickly torn apart by the stark evidence against him. It was revealed that Sibick had pressed the emergency button on Fanone's radio 16 minutes after Fanone had been escorted to safety. Adding another layer to his deception, Sibick initially claimed to have thrown Fanone's badge in a dumpster. This, however, was far from the truth. Investigators later unearthed the badge, not in a dumpster, but buried in Sibick's own backyard. This discovery was a grim symbol of the deceit and violence that had characterized Sibick's actions on January 6th. As we await Sibick's sentencing, scheduled for July 28, we are left to reflect on the gravity of his crimes. His actions, and the subsequent lies he spun to cover them up, paint a chilling picture of a man who let himself be swept up in a wave of violence and lawlessness. This case serves as a stark reminder of the lengths some individuals will go to in the heat of the moment. It underscores the importance of truth, justice, and the rule of law, values that we as a society must uphold, even in the face of the most testing circumstances. Or take the case of Peter Schwartz, a Kentucky Capitol rioter, who was sentenced to over 14 years in prison for attacking police officers during the same riot. Schwartz was no stranger to the criminal justice system, with 38 prior convictions under his belt. During the riot, he didn't hesitate to use pepper spray and a chair as weapons against the police officers. His actions were not only violent, but they were also a clear breach of the law. At the time of the attack, Schwartz was on probation, demonstrating a disregard for the conditions of his release. His then-wife, Shelley Stallings, was also involved in the riot and received a 2-year sentence. Schwartz's lawyer requested a sentence of 4.5 years, while prosecutors asked for 24 years and 6 months. The judge, however, deemed the prosecution's request overly punitive. Instead, Schwartz was sentenced to 14 years and 2 months, along with 3 years of supervised release and a fine. During sentencing, the judge made a poignant comment. He called Schwartz a soldier against democracy, highlighting the severity of his actions. These instances of violence and disrespect in the courtroom raise serious questions about our societal values and norms. The consequences for such actions are severe, as evidenced by the lengthy prison sentences handed down to these individuals. In the eyes of the law, assaulting a judge or other court officials is an attack on the very foundations of our justice system. It's not just about the physical harm inflicted, but the symbolic affront to the rule of law. The American legal system depends on the sanctity of the courtroom, a place where disputes are settled, justice is served, and societal order is maintained. When this sanctity is violated, the repercussions ripple out, affecting not only those directly involved, but also the public's trust in our institutions. The sentences served by individuals like Thomas Sibick and Peter Schwartz serve as stark reminders that such actions come with heavy consequences. They underscore the seriousness with which our legal system views these attacks. Yet, beyond the legal ramifications, we should reflect on the broader implications. These cases remind us that respect for our institutions and the rule of law is paramount. Our courts function on the principle of respect for the law, respect for the process, and respect for the individuals who uphold these systems. As we reflect on these cases, let us remember the importance of respect, decorum, and the rule of law in our society.